Hi friends, how are you? I hope that you all are fine. Today once again I have brought a new video before you, and this video tells you about the renewed US-Iran tension. The people in the world have started to think that the conflict has already been over with the temporary peace deal which has been signed in the month of June. But after a few days, it was seen that there was an attack on three ships by Iran, and once again Donald Trump also has tried to retaliate. Similarly, the chief or the head, the main leader in Iran also has told that he will also take retaliation of his father's death. So in this situation, once again, as tension has been erupted in the Middle East, and I think that in the Gulf region, the tension will bring once again the price rise of essential commodities, the price rise of and the crisis of oil and natural gas. Okay, so President Trump, you see, this week just declared that the 2 months expiry between the United States of America and Iran has dead. And as the two sides traded air strikes and insults and appeared to be locked into a new war of attrition. Hostilities resumed after Iran tried to grab control over the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for oil and gas exports, which was supposed to reopen toll-free to commercial shipping under the new abundant interim peace deal designed in June. Iran's Revolutionary Guard fired on three tankers transiting the strait along a corridor close to Oman's coastline on the south rather than in Iranian-controlled waters. Calling it a violation of agreement, U.S. Central Command responded by hitting over 80 Iranian targets, including air defense systems, coastal radar sites, and Revolutionary Guard gunboats. Days of tit-for-tat strikes followed, with the U.S. striking hundreds of military sites, and Iran launched the drone and military and missile attacks on U.S. bases in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain. Iran made a poor choice, says Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and now they pay. Trump formally notified Congress that the U.S. was again at war with Iran and reinstated a naval blockade of Iranian ports, saying the U.S. would become the guardian of the strait. Trump announced a plan to change the 20% fee on all tariff in Huawei after pushback from Congress and U.S. allies. Trump abandoned the toll plan a day later, saying leaders of Gulf Arab nations had praised to instead make massive investments in the U.S. as the blockade took effect, and while crypto above $87 a barrel, the highest in more than a month. Iran's Revolutionary Guard threatened to halt all energy exports from the region. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Iran has always been the guardian of the strait and will remain so far. Actually, some Senate Democrats blocked a $1 trillion defense bill to test the military campaign. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said Congress couldn't look the other way as Trump drags the nation deeper into a war he cannot explain and does not know how to end. Trump, who had praised Iranian's president or leadership as smart and very rational, took a sharp turn, calling him scum and vicious, violent people. He threatened to regulate power plants, and he threatened to target power plants and bridges unless the regime resumes negotiations in good faith, and warned that the U.S. would decimate and destroy all areas of Iran if it made any attempt to his life. And what the columnist of the week said, the ceasefire breakdown was predictable, as Rich Lowry in the National Review. The deal framework negotiated by Vice President J.D. Vance offered vague language on the strait that punted on whether Iran could control traffic and charge fares, that allowed for a starkly divergent understanding. Trumpist right, that Iran cannot be allowed to control the waterway. But the question now is whether he has the fortitude for the fight ahead, having proved they can disrupt the strait with they can disrupt the pan with traits and a few and definitely and a few projectiles. The Iranians would yield the leverage on it. We are being pulled back into a conflict with no clear articulated political instead, said Mark, hurtling in the bulwark. Over 5 months, we have destroyed Iranian military facilities, killed Iranian commanders, and attacked Iranian missile system. But a defiant Tehran appears willing to absorb extraordinary punishment. We can destroy more, but Iran can destroy more, driving up oil prices, attacking Arab state neighbors, and straining U.S. alliances, and drawing us deeper into an open-end campaign. Trump failed to hit a crucial warfare maxim, said Mike Nelson, the dispatch. Know your enemy. Yeah, Trump should know his enemy actually. So this is a good maxim. So he wrongly believed the US and Israel's initial decapitation strikes would topple Iran's Harlan regime. When Tehran stood firm, he wrongly thought economic and military pain would bring it to heel. His fatal error was believing the mullahs were transactional as he is, and failing to understand they are Islamist, nationalists, or extremists who have spent decades waiting to vanquish the great Satan. So the war has left Trump adrift, said Peter Baker in the New York Times. Facing an opponent he cannot bend to his will, and a geopolitical conflict that cannot be won through nasty social media posts. He seemed to have neither a clear military nor diplomatic strategy. Trump is stuck in a quagmire, but Tehran is recklessly overplaying its hands, said the Financial Times in an editorial. He has suffered devastating blows, and its economy is in crisis with crippling inflation. And the more desperate Trump gets, the greater the risk he delivers on his threat to target civilian infrastructure, taking his dangerous spiral to a new level. I have got 3 words to advise for Trump, said Mr. Ignatius in the Washington Post. Quote, just stop killing. He thinks he's non-stop, quote, blaster and braggadocio, unquote, gives him leverage, but instead it, quote, makes him look weak, unquote. So zoom out, and you can see Iran's economy is in tatters. In nuclear facilities are buried under rubble, and leadership is bitterly divided between hardliners and moderates willing to negotiate with the United States of America. Trump must use selective military power to reopen the strait, and then let economic pressure go to work, and see what develops as the Iranians think realistically about their options. As it stands, we seem to lose the same war twice, says Joe Krinkoen in the New Republic. If we could bomb Iran into submission, it would have worked the first time. So that happened. So that happens now. And what happens now? He did not do. I mean, the United States of America did not destroy USA, Iran earlier, but he was just playing games, and he was just threatening to destroy Iran. Donald Trump was threatening to destroy Iran, but actually he didn't do. He was just threatening, and people of Iran and people in the world have now started to understand and have now understood that he is using threat as weapon, but actually he will not do anything because there is midterm election in the United States of America, and his Republican Party is going to lose. Okay, so what happens now? I see 3 possible scenarios. The fighting could peter out, and mediators adopt a new compromise. You see, the mediator was a mediator. Pakistan was a mediator. Pakistan itself doesn't has doesn't have any credibility in the world. They are the what I say terrorist country. In other words, say I mean there so many terrorist organizations are active in. Pakistan, who are trying to destabilize the peace and security of India and other countries, and they are working as mediator in the Iran and US conflict. This is ridiculous, and the selection of Pakistan by Mr. Donald Trump is also ridiculous to the political scientists in the world. Okay, a last section of political scientists in the world. Okay, so. Largely along Iranian terms, we could enter a new forever war where fighting flares up and dissipates in repeated cycles. When there is the third option, violent escalation, a setting of a large war than either side deserved. Okay, so if these things can be done by the United States of America, yeah, definitely they can win the war. But the cost of war is too much for the United States of America. Yeah, they may defeat Iran, they may destroy Strait of Hormuz, they may destroy their power supply and infrastructure, but ultimately I don't think that the United States of America will be able to destroy their spirit. But because the spirit of Iranian is too strong, and their nationalism is also too strong, and the United States of America will not be able to destroy a country like Iran in the days to come. Better, I would say, as Mr. Obama took the policy to negotiate, better negotiation, I would rather say to be little or to leave Donald Trump's ego and offer his talk to Iranian authority and set a new target and new diplomacy and new discussion and new negotiation, so that both of them can come to a negotiating table and discuss and try to solve the problem through negotiation and diplomacy. This is the only way. There's no other way. I think but this will help both Iran and United States of America and the people as a whole. With these things, I would like to close this video. Thank you very much for listening to this and watching this video.